You know why you are here? It's the same money they used to pay you.
Shame on you.
Calm down.
I even have cooked so much.
Don't look at Masha, you're patrol. Actually, no, can you say which way you're patrol?
Who can he know what? Come on.
And you can hear the frustration in there. These are people who have marched for months for their money. You have also marched for months. You have sent messages, you've made demands because the companies you entrusted your money with, or you entrusted your money to, have not returned it in your moment of need. So where do you go?
Even poison themselves. Is it fair? As a nation with a leader, is it fair? So all our leaders are famous. And because of that, we are going to take the necessary drastic action against our leaders. We are taking this opportunity to make a passionate appeal to the President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, to the Governor of Bank of Ghana, to our MPs, and all the opinion leaders to assist us to get our deposit and investment back.
So you heard him mentioning the names of various institutions who they're appealing to help get their funds back. But our guest today should be your first port of call. The man with the responsibility to ensure that your investments are protected. His name is Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete. He's the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. Reverend, good morning. Welcome to the Super Morning Show.
Good morning, Daniel.
Hope all is well this morning.
By His grace and mercy, I am.
Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown can't fit this situation even better.
Yeah, and you know, as you play the song, it made me remember many years ago, maybe about 20 years ago, I used to host a program on another station. It was called Sikasem. So this was a tune that we used to sign in. So I just, you know,
it takes you back.
It takes me back. You know,
Reverend, I didn't know you're a Lumba boy like that. Let's get to the work of the SEC because we need to draw a proper context for our conversation. What is the work that the Securities and Exchange Commission does?
Okay, so let me start by saying that if you take any country, you can have different sectors. We have the financial sector, and there are a number of regulators that operate in the financial sector. Of course, there are different models from country to country. You find some countries, they have what we call the Twin Peaks model, where you just have two institutions, one focusing on prudential issues and then market conduct issues across the entire spectrum. You also have a situation, and that you can find that an example, for instance, is South Africa and so on and so forth. And then you can have specialized institutional approach, where you have different institutions, regulatory bodies focusing on different aspects. So if we take what we have in Ghana, we have the specialized institutional approach to managing the financial sector. So we have the Bank of Ghana that regulates the banks and non-bank financial institutions. We have the National Insurance Commission that regulates the insurance companies. We have the National Pensions Regulatory Authority that also regulates the pension business. And then we have the Securities and Exchange Commission, where I'm coming from. And our mandate is to regulate the securities industry. And our enabling act is the Securities Industry Act 2016, Act 929. It defines securities. If you look at section 216, it defines securities there. But basically, when we talk about securities, we are talking about, if you like, the long end of the financial market. If you take the banks or the banking sector, you're talking about the money market. But if you take the securities industry, you're talking about the capital market. Money market tends to be short-term, and when we talk about short-term, we are referring to periods a year and below.
Okay.
While when you talk about long-term, then you're looking at 3 years and above. So the whole range of services that constitutes the securities industry comes under the regulation of the SEC. So we focus on the securities business.
Okay.
Now, our overarching goal in regulating the securities business is to ensure investor protection. And I think you alluded to that. Now, let me mention, if you like, 4 broad areas that we can say that our functions get into to achieve this overarching goal of investor protection. So you can talk about regulatory. And when you talk about regulatory, we are talking about things to do with licensing of various market operators. And I think you again alluded to it. So if you have a look at Section 3 in our Act, with the whole list of market operators that need to obtain a license from the SEC before they can operate. And let me stress that we are talking about regulated activities. So before you can get into those activities, you need a license. So from brokers to fund managers to registrars, custodians, trustees, securities exchanges, investment advisors, unit
hedge
trusts,
funds,
and so on and so forth. They all need to get a license from the SEC, and that comes under, if you like, the regulatory function. And then we can talk about coming up with various regulations, because the Act requires that we come up with regulations to operationalize the Act, and then you can talk of various directives, guidelines, codes, and so on and so forth that we issue, to give guidance to conduct of activity within the securities industry. Then when you talk about things to do with business combinations like mergers, takeovers, and so on and so forth, again, it comes to the SEC for review and approval. And then also, before you can get into a market issuance, and when I talk about market issuance, I'm talking about either you are raising equity or you are raising funds through a bond, a debt issuance. Again, you need to come to the SEC to the extent that you're going to make an invitation to the public. You must come to the SEC for us to approve the issue that you want to undertake.
Before people invest their monies into your company.
So we check all the boxes to be sure that what you're offering the investing public, conforms or complies with regulations. So again, you can't just get up and make an invitation to the public, to raise either debt or equity. You can do it if you're doing a private, you contact a few friends and family and all of that. But if you have to have a public invitation, you cannot just do that. It's regulated, so you need to come to the SEC.
For the sake of my listeners, when you say debt and equity, what are you saying?
Okay, so when you talk about equity, you're talking about raising funds from the public to become part owners. So let's say a company like maybe a Ghana Commercial Bank or any company can decide they want to raise capital to expand, let's say, our business, rather than, let's say, go for debt. Debt means that you borrow X amount that you pay after a certain period of time at a given interest rate. You want people who become shareholders. So we call it equity.
Okay.
So when you want to raise equity, in other words, you're inviting other people to become shareholders with you. Then you do an equity issuance.
Okay.
But then you don't have to do that. And there are a number of companies that may prefer to use debt rather than equity. And debt is, as we understand it, you are borrowing effectively at a given interest rate under some specified terms that you would, after those terms, be obliged to pay back. But equity, you don't pay back.
Okay.
So that's what we mean by the market issuances. Then you can talk about another broad range of activities that we do. That's supervision and then surveillance. Now, when you talk about supervision, we want to ensure that the market is protected from market abuse, things like insider trading, conflict of interest. So we need to keep some surveillance on the securities industry to ensure that market abuse is avoided. Then you can also talk under supervision of the market operators that we have licensed, because it's important to ensure that we monitor their solvency and make sure that they are in the right position. they're in the right position to be able to carry on their business. So we do that supervision. We do on-site and off-site supervision just to be sure that they are okay and they can deliver on the mandate expected by the investing public. Then we also monitor the entire securities industry in terms of surveillance to make sure that we have an orderly, fair, and transparent securities industry. And then another important plank in our function, our term, market development. And, we are very happy to talk about it because we want people to know that we are not just, as a regulatory body interested just in regulating and, if you like, a policeman or a head teacher holding the stick, beating people into line. But we are interested in, the initiatives that will lead to the growth and development of the market. And over the years, we've seen, if we take, for instance, the securities exchanges, currently we have 4 exchanges, or 4 trading platforms.
Okay.
We have the Ghana Stock Exchange, the main board for equities, but we also have the Ghana Alternative Exchange for the SMEs, that's, for small, medium-sized enterprises to also come to the market. Then we also have the Ghana Fixed Income Market, and that's for the bond market or debt instrument.
Okay.
And then recently, last year, as I'm sure people would recall, we had the Ghana Commodities Exchange.
Yeah.
And all these represent some development
in the
market, because if you take 20 years, 25 years, we didn't have that. So market development is also key. And recently, we have even issued the REIT guidelines, to ensure that that line of business also, has that regulatory framework for development. So we do a lot of market development and even investor education and all of that. And then, of course, the Act also requires us to provide some advice on policy on the securities industry to our sector ministry. So you find.
So in a nutshell, you've taken us through the 4 main things.
Yes, I mean I just decided to break it down.
Yes,
just for,
yes. And we appreciate it. We appreciate it. So it's 12 minutes past 8. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete is the one you just heard. He's the Director General for the Securities and Exchange Commission, and we are live on Joy 99.7 FM. We're also live on Joy News on TV, the AM show to be specific. What Reverend has done is, when we asked him what work the SEC does, he took us to the 4 main aspects: regulation, supervision, surveillance, and market development. I have a text here. I'll just read it for you. Daniel, why is SEC not taking over some of these companies like Bank of Ghana did in order to secure customers' investments? Does your remit cover this?
What I would say is that when one of our market operators has an issue or has some difficulty, we begin a process of, investigation to establish where the problem is, and then we work with the company to see how the issues can be resolved. And there are a number of options for resolution, and one of them is where you would arrange, depending on the situation, arrange for some, if you like, administrator or entity to take over. I think so far we've not had in our experience in the security industry where we've had such a mechanism of appointing a receiver or another entity to take over. But that is an option that can be considered in terms of the number of things that can be done, looking at a particular situation.
At what point will we get to with an institution to decide that this is what must be done?
And the answer to that is it depends. It really depends on what really is the underlying issue or the underlying cause. Because at the end of the day, you're also looking at how can the situation be remedied to achieve the objective of investor protection. So it really depends on, if you like, a case-by-case situation.
So let's take a few cases. On your website, You have listed a number of companies, over 130 companies there. 80 of them are rated gold. 47 of them are in red. Why are these? And 6 companies we understand have themselves come voluntarily asked to be shut down. Why are these 47 in red?
Okay, and I think it's good you've asked, because we did that recently, and I think even in social media there was some misconception, and certain people were putting out all kinds of things which are far from the truth. Now, what we have on our website, and we've had on our website the list of all the licensees that we have. So anyone who comes to us, meets the conditions, gets the license. So if you go on our website, you have the list of all our licensees. It's been there. And we encourage people that before you do business with any one operating in the securities industry space, go to our website and confirm that that entity is a licensed market operator or has a valid license.
Okay.
Now, what we did, and that's about maybe 6 weeks or 2 months ago, was to provide a little bit of information to the investing public about these, our licensees. Okay. Now, we decided to, because, for investor protection, one of the powerful ways of achieving it is when you make information available. We like to say that a well-informed investor is a well-protected investor.
Okay.
So what we decided to do was to introduce this color coding, and those that have the red color, what the explanation is that these companies, they have valid licenses, because when we revoke or we suspend the license, we will put that out, and when we revoke, we'll take you out of the list. But these companies have valid licenses. However, there are some issues, and there are 2 broad issues that will make you get that red color code. One is unresolved complaints. We believe that every market operator must have a mechanism to resolve customer complaints. Now, when the market operators fail to resolve those complaints, then those complaints get escalated to the SEC. And so once the complaints have been escalated to the SEC, it means that the market operator has failed to do so.
Okay.
So we get in and we push the market operator, depending on what the customer complaint is, to resolve it. Now, when the complaint is unresolved, we want the investing public to know that this company has some unresolved complaints.
Right.
And then the other category is what we call regulatory issues, something like late, filing of returns, not maintaining a complaints register, and so on and so forth. So the list that we have on our website is a list of market operators who duly hold licenses from the SEC. We did not, and we do not intend for that list to be a list of companies that are safe to do business with or not safe to do business with. All we are saying to the investing public is that these companies that have this red, coloring, they have some unresolved complaints. They have some regulatory issues. As and when the complaints are resolved and the regulatory issues are also resolved, we quickly change the code, and then there's nothing. They join the code, and so what we expect this to do is that if, let's say, you are about to transact business with a firm, or you already are a client of a firm, and you find that, let's say, they have instead of being in the gold, they are in the red. When you go to them, ask questions. What is it that has made you to get that red code on the SEC list, and what are you doing? We are not saying that stop business with those entities. No, that we are just saying that this is information, and then we want more pressure to be on the market operators to resolve the issues. Because if their clients are asking them questions and saying that, look, you need to sort this thing out because I'm not happy that you have this on this list, it will give them more pressure. And I can tell you that after we introduced this color code, a number of the market operators quickly resolved the issues that they had, and they have had the red taking off their name. So it was just an attempt to provide a little bit more information about whether our market operators have unresolved customer complaints or regulatory issues. It's not,
and some have a mix, don't they?
Yes. So I'm saying that because one of the things when you're going to deal with a market operator, you must be asking questions. That's what a lot of people do not do. Typically, people just listen to what a friend or what a brother will say. Oh, this thing is good. Oh, I went here and it's working well. But you must ask questions, and we believe that this will help the investing public, to know that maybe their market operator has one issue or the other, that they can put pressure, and once those issues are resolved, then they're happy. So if we have any reason to revoke a license, we will, and we'll publish it, and we'll take it out of the list.
Does it then mean that even for the companies listed red, you have confidence that they can carry on their business without customers having a challenge?
Absolutely. What I'm saying to you is that what we do is to license operators based on their ability to satisfy some requirements. On a continuing basis, we supervise. I mentioned that earlier on. We do on-site and off-site inspections. For some of our on-site inspections, we pick issues, regulatory issues. For instance, I talked about not maintaining a complaints register. So if we pick that up during our off-site review, it will make you get that red until you have established it, and then we come to satisfy ourselves that you have put the complaints register. It doesn't mean that you are going out of business.
But there are some who have complaints from customers, and it's these same customers who are supposed to go back and lodge their funds there.
So when you have a complaint, the mechanism for resolution of the complaint is to come to the SEC to file your complaint. When you file your complaint, we will do an investigation to establish whether your complaint has merit. Now, after the complaint has been investigated, we'll do a hearing as part of the investigation, and then we will get the market operator to have an arrangement, an agreement with you, the complainant, to have your maybe some kind of payment terms, to sort out your issue. Now, if the market operator fails to do so, then you can report to the SEC that they have failed. But then what you can do beyond that is you are empowered now, if you so choose, to pursue your money or your investment with that company using the court system. And because you have already come to the SEC, because take note that the Act requires that if you have any complaint or any issue, you must first come to the SEC for it to be resolved. Now, if you do not exhaust the provisions at the SEC, you could run into some technical challenges if you want to pursue it in the court system. Okay, so we have that mechanism for resolving complaints. So if you have a complaint, you come and then we go through the process. And I'm just saying that if there are, and let's say a company has come, we've talked, and there has been an arrangement in terms of how a customer is going to be sorted out. Until the company has sorted out the complainant, it means that it is still unresolved. Because at the end of the day, what the the customer is looking for is for his money to be paid. So if the company hasn't been fully satisfied, then we don't have a basis to take off the red color. But it doesn't mean that the company is going down, depending on the underlying investment. You know, so it's not a blanket issue to say that if you have this red code, then you are down and out.
You should
and that's why we are saying that it should provoke questioning, and people should ask questions. Ask why. What is the issue? If it's unresolved customer complaints, as in you haven't paid, why is it? What kind of underlying investments have you made? Is it that your funds are locked? You must ask questions to inform you, and for
when
you to
are
make
making that decision.
An informed decision. Absolutely.
It's 26 minutes past 8 here on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Daniel Daze. Our guest in the studio is Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete. He is the Director General for the Securities and Exchange Commission. What we've done so far is we've established in broad strokes the work of the SEC. A key question that came in was, why is it that what happened in the banking sector with the closure of banks and the takeover has not happened in the capital markets where the SEC regulates? Reverend has explained to us that we haven't gotten to that point yet. But that option, let me just slip this in, that option is available to the SEC, right?
Certainly. If we have, we come to the point where we realize that the company is insolvent or is unable to deliver on its mandate, to protect investors, we'll have to, step in and follow the due process. I just don't want to, and I cannot disclose all the steps that are being taken. I mean, you don't do that when you're a regulator. But I'm just saying that we review the situation. You have a mechanism that you set in motion, and you need to go through some steps.
Okay.
I mean, for what Bank of Ghana did, many people would not know the different steps that they went through and over which period of time. Okay, so I think that that understanding
that's one of the questions
has to be there. Yeah.
I just wanted to get that clarity that option is available to the SEC, and they will take that action as and when by their evaluation they have to. We're going to take these messages and come back. When I come back, we've also looked at the number of companies on their websites and why some are labeled red, some are labeled gold. He has told us that it's because there are regulatory issues and pending complaints from customers. But an action has been taken against Gold Coast Fund Management. When we come back, we'll ask why that action, what has been done, what is next. Your text messages are brought to you by Afrodan. Your back must last you a lifetime, and Glyco Critical Illness Plan GSEP. Glyco will cushion you for life. Afrodan offers you the most comfortable chair in the world, the Nightingale Extreme Comfort Chair. It has over 10 thoughtfully engineered features, especially customized for your health and comfort. Go to Afrodan on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade and feel this chair. You'll be amazed. We'll be back.
At Afrodan, we believe that many of the problems people have with their health is as a result of the way they sit. In other words, your chair can kill you. Here's Dr. Marcus Mann of the Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
What you have to remember is that the spine is the lifeline to your body, and posture is the window to that spine. Now, posture is affected by your daily activities and habits like sitting. That's why at the Chiropractic and Wellness Centers, we recommend what I believe to be the best chairs available for preventing not only subluxations, but also other health problems that you may not be aware of. And that's Rabami and Mobilex chairs. Unfortunately, on a daily basis, I have to correct the effects of this poor sitting habit in our businessmen and businesswomen. Always remember, optimal spine equals optimum health.
So, for the sake of your health, buy Rabami or Mobilex chairs from Afrodan. We are on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade. Telephone 663-085.
Hey, Kwame, what's up here?
My brother,
My wife has been diagnosed with cancer.
what?
My brother is here with kidney disease too. Oh, yeah.
Do you know the World Health Organization estimates that over 16,000 new cases of cancers are diagnosed annually in Ghana, and kidney diseases account for 10% of all medical admissions to Kolebu?
But thanks to Glyco Critical Illness Plan, GSEP, I have spent over 20,000 Ghana cedis on my younger brother's disease. Yeah. What is GSIP?
Glycocritical Illness Plan, GSIP, provides you with financial support when diagnosed with any critical illness or dread disease such as cancers, strokes, kidney failures. Speak to GlycoLife today on 0302-218-500 for your GSIP policy. It is definitely in our interest to survive. GlycoLife, we cushion you for life.
What makes me melt on Easter? My family together.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yes, it melts my heart when my family comes together after shopping at our favorite City supermarket and enjoy special meals for everyone.
How sweet.
With the kids running around.
The sweetest Easter deals at Citidia, because only Citidia offers the best quality products at prices so low that will make your heart melt. So rush to Citidia and have a sweet Easter.
Easter is a season of miracles and wonders. And for those looking for solutions to present financial needs, look no further. There's good news from Republic Bank. If you're a salaried worker, government employee, or gainfully employed, simply walk into any branch of Republic Bank, complete a loan application form, and be part of the Republic Bank Easter loan sale. It's quick, easy, and flexible. Call or WhatsApp now on 055-654-3212. The Republic Bank Easter loan sale. Resurrect your pocket. Terms and conditions apply.
Republic Bank, we are the one for you.
Welcome to South Africa, your own personal playground.
Welcome to the Cape One.
Welcome to Johannesburg.
Welcome to Shaka Marine World.
Welcome to Canal Walk.
Welcome to the Nelson Mandela Capture Site.
Welcome to
the Cape Town Jazz Festival.
Welcome to the Midlands.
Welcome to Maboneng.
Welcome to East London. Welcome to God's Window.
With 54 million welcoming South Africans, all eager to make your holiday that much more inviting, allow us to indulge you with all our favorite sights and sounds. Visit southafrica.net to discover more. South Africa, inspiring new ways.
Easter is such a wonderful time of the year. As in, by the time I'm done with this ad, you would have learned one thing and one thing only. That is, the brand Samsung has you in mind this Easter, and they plan on making it special for you with great discounts and gifts. So anytime you hear Samsung has Easter gifts, like 32-inch satellite TV going for 999 Ghana cedis, a washing machine for 949 Ghana cedis, then you should visit any Samsung brand store near you or authorized reseller. Terms and conditions apply. Happy Easter from Samsung.
No idea how long I've been waiting for the season of giving.
I am Dr. Acacia. Acacia gives your workers the best customer service and treatment options when the need arises, keeping them healthier and more productive for your business. Acacia Health Insurance. We place value on those you value.
Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
It's a money affair today on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. We're also live on the AM show on Joy News on Multi TV. My name is Daniel Daze. Here with my guest, Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete. He is the Director General for the Securities and Exchange Commission. We are talking about the money market, or should I say the capital market. I'm talking about companies like, your asset management companies. I don't want to mention names. Companies that you go and give them money to invest for you, and they give you a percentage on your investments after a period of time. We've had a lot of complaints that when we go for our monies, we don't get them back. So we started by talking about, how some of these companies are coded red and gold on their websites. Rosemond asked this question from Kumasi. Daniel, kindly ask Mr. Reverend Ogbami how to determine whether the operator is red or gold, because if the operator is red and it does not display, how do you know, please? Rosemond, I wish you could send me a specific company's name so that we know if you are having problems with it, but it's listed as gold on the website. Because, I don't know, Reverend, do we have complaints of companies coming in where they are listed gold, but we still have complaints coming in?
What I explained earlier was that once you have unresolved complaints or regulatory issues,
it will stay red.
It will stay red. But when it is resolved,
it will change to gold.
It will change, because the fact that it's been colored red doesn't mean that you are going down or you're out of business. It just means that you have issues and you need to deal with those issues. And let me say that we have
I'll come to you to
toll-free line.
You have a toll-free line.
Yeah, so if people can, for instance, go to the website, they can call our toll-free line, to if they get get whatever question they have answered, because I understand some people may not be able to or may not want. But
it's about trust, isn't it? Some people want to know that when they come to you, they would have their issues resolved. So can you tell us, for instance, what's your success rate of resolving complaints as SEC?
Well, if you talk about resolution of complaints, the question is, what can SEC do? And that's why I'm saying that what we do is to investigate and then get the market operator to have an agreement with you, the complainant, on how your issue be resolved. So we've been doing that. We've instituted what we call a hearings committee. So we do that hearing. We bring and we get a record that you can use, beyond our system. That's if your issue is not resolved. Okay. But in terms of actual resolution, it depends on the ability of the company to deliver. So
but here's the point. So if the company is not able, what you're saying is, if the company is not able, I cannot get my money.
You see, what you also must understand is that when you talk about investment, you are taking some risk. Every investment carries a degree of risk. Now, if there's risk, it means that there's a possibility that you will lose parts of your money or your investment. Now, the principle is this: the higher the risk, the higher the return. What this means is that when, for instance, you are investing in a vehicle, an instrument that carries high returns, then it means that there is high risk. So once there is the element of risk when it comes to investment, that's different from when you take your money to a deposit-taking institution like a bank, because you are taking it for the bank to keep it for you, either in your savings account or in a demand deposit. But when you talk about investment, you are moving beyond just depositing your money for your money to work for you. Now, when your money is working for you, it will entail some risk. So if the risk is high, then you could lose all or part of your money. So I think that understanding must also be there. If you walk to a fund manager, depending on the vehicle you choose, and I have some points I'd like us to go through, because one of the things we want to do and we need to do is investor education for people to understand what investment is all about, and how to go about it. So along the line,
we'll go through, because I also had those questions
it's
from
not
my
automatic.
colleagues.
Depending on the nature of the investment that you made with the market operator.
With the market operator.
Yes.
I have two issues with that. Number one, we are guaranteed returns of at a certain level when we go to these investment companies. Number two,
and you're not supposed to guarantee returns. In fact,
but they've done it for years.
Some have done it. It wasn't right. The SEC gave a directive on that in 2014, and we are strongly enforcing it. From last year, June, we issued a strong directive to our market operators to stop the practice of guaranteeing returns. So that is not what they should be doing, because they don't have the balance sheet to be doing that.
And how many of these companies have complied?
Well, the work of a regulator, you give a directive, you need to enforce. And to do that, you need to, do your surveillance, to do your monitoring to ensure compliance. We've thrown out some mystery shoppers out, to confirm whether the operators have stopped. And from what we have picked so far, they have so, but we haven't covered the entire market because we have about 148 fund managers. So it's an ongoing process to ensure that the directive that we have given the market operators or the asset managers, the fund managers comply with it.
But Reverend, you are able to tell if your companies have regulatory issues, and so you quote them red.
Yes.
I'm at a loss as to why we cannot tell if our directive is being followed.
I'm saying that it's being followed, but we haven't, covered all the operators in terms of, for instance, doing, because even if you talk about on-site inspections, when you go, it takes some time because you need to go through a number of things, looking through the books. It takes some time. We have 148 operators. I don't want to sit here and tell you that we've done that for all the operators. That would not be the truth because it takes time and it takes. So I'm just saying that we've done some mystery shopping. We haven't covered all. What we see so far is that they are complying. That's what we see so far.
How many have we checked so far?
Not a whole lot because, like I said, it's. I mean, I can't give you the percentage of head, but what we did was, we focus especially on those that we knew they were engaging in a guaranteed return because we had asked them to give us some report, and they all reported. So we focused on those that were engaged in, giving guaranteed returns. And, we picked, the what we call, there's something called risk-based supervision because in every jurisdiction, regulators have limited resources. So they tend to focus on, the operators that, if like pose, or have the tendency to, cause risk or difficulties within the market. So that was the approach. Looking at those who submitted, those who have been doing the guaranteed return that we asked them to stop, and then doing some if you like cherry picking on a few that are, if you like, they have the reputation to be in some kind of difficulty. So we did that. So we haven't covered everyone, but the reporting,
you're unable to give us a number.
I can't give you a number. I can't give you a number off the top of my head.
It's 80 minutes to the top of the hour here on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Daniel Dazi. I'm here with Reverend Daniel Ogbamitete. He is the Director General, for the Securities and Exchange Commission. What we just did is, guaranteed returns is when you go to a company and they tell you, I'll give you X% at the end of this period of time. You will all agree with me listening that a lot of these companies do it. You go to an investment company, they tell you, we'll give you this percentage at this.
I'm not sure you can say a number, because if you say a lot, do you have the basis?
It's semantics. It's semantics. Okay. A number of these companies do it.
Right.
So Reverend Ogbamitete is telling us that a directive was issued by SEC. And after that, when was the directive issued? Remind our listeners, please.
It was in June 2018.
June 2018, but the regulation actually took effect in 2014.
No, the first time SEC issued a directive on that was in 2014. Okay.
So on taking over, you see, because this is where, for the listeners listening to us, this is where the heart of the problem is. You went to a company, they told you they'll give you this percentage after 3 months. You went back for your money, you didn't get it. They were not supposed to sell you the products in the first place. So this conversation we are into, this is where all the problems that you are texting me, because I have like 15 different companies so far. I don't think we have enough time to go through them one by one. So let's deal with the umbrella issue. Reverend, we took over in 2017, thereabouts. And a directive had been issued in 2014. What did we do?
So I think what listeners need to understand and I guess follow is the fact that in 2014, when the SEC issued the directive, the market operators engaged the SEC. So there was some engagement on the directive and how to implement it, whether some window should be given. So it wasn't like the directive was given and then somebody just went to sleep. There was engagement. And if you have the opportunity to interview the Ghana Securities Industry Association, they'll confirm. Actually, at the time, I was on the other side because, as you may know, I used to be...
You used to work at Data
yes, before I crossed over. So I know that the GSIA engaged the SEC about this directive in terms of can it be accommodated in a certain way. So, for instance, conversations were like, well, if, let's say, you decided to buy something like treasury bills or a bond, a government bond that the risk is low, can you, for instance, strip it and then sell it to clients because it's on the back of a guaranteed product? So there were a number of discussions that the GSIA had with the SEC. So it's not an issue like the commission gave a directive, the commission went to sleep, and then in 2017 we woke up out of a deep slumber. No, there was that engagement, but after doing an assessment of the complaints coming in, we realized that, and that's why I said I wanted to go through some of the areas I had mentioned in terms of, the causes of these challenges and some of the measures that we have. And I think it's important to go through. But it was an assessment of the situation that we said, no, this thing is still it's a problematic area, and we just have to make sure that the directive we first gave in 2014, we strictly enforce it. So in 2018, we called all the fund managers into a meeting, and we told them that we gave them a window. We said that between July of 2018 and then December of 2018, they should wind up the exposures in that, guaranteed fixed return product space. They shouldn't do new ones, and that what they had, which were maturing, as they matured, they should unwind the positions. So that is really the history. In 2014, the directive was given, and the industry association was engaging. And one of the tenets of regulation is to ensure that you also engage with your industry association.
And then in 2017?
And that's what I'm saying, that after an assessment of how things were going, really, I must say that the Commission and the Industry Association didn't conclude on a precise position on how to proceed. Industry was saying that let's entertain it a bit, maybe put in some checks and balances. The Commission was not, convinced, and there was, that back and forth. But I'm saying that we did an assessment in 2018, and we said, no, this thing, no matter what, it is best not to even consider some form of concession or arrangement. Okay. So then we said that, look, if we are enforcing it, we give a window. So that really is a background. It's not an issue of the directive was given and then nobody did anything about it.
Let's go to Gold Coast Fund Management.
But Daniel, before we go to, I think I want to do this. Now, the reason why, I want to give 7 reasons why I believe some of these complaints have come. And I'll address the Gold Coast issue, don't worry.
Take us through. No worry.
So we have what I'll call counterparty defaults. Okay, so let's say a fund manager invests money with a counterparty. So let's say a bank or a savings and loans company, or let's say a microfinance company, and the bank or the savings and loans company or the microfinance company runs into some difficulty. You'll find that can affect the ability of our licensed operator, as the market operator, to be able to get the funds. Okay, so that is one of the reasons why we've seen some of our operators having a lot of complaints made to us about their inability to pay them because of counterparty default. And I'd like to put out that the SEC, I'm sure you know that the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana have in recent times given indication that there will be some kind of intervention in some distressed savings and loans companies, microfinance companies. That I think they did something for the bank, some of the banks that were in distress. I think we know about it, you alluded to it. And they'll be looking at the SNL's microfinance and all of that. So the SEC, we've started engaging with the ministry and certainly also with the Bank of Ghana, so that in the process, our fund managers who have exposures to these distressed companies, they provided there's solid evidence, because we understand that in some of the instances, people have done some things that they shouldn't have done, or there's no basis for some of the investments that they claim to have made with banks. But provided all the evidence is there and it's all checked, our licensees who have been affected by counterparty default, especially in the SNL and microfinance space, they would get some relief. So it will help the liquidity situation.
I want you to restate that point clearly for me.
Okay.
What you're telling us is that if we check that these investment companies had funds with banks and savings and loans companies which are being bailed out by the Bank of Ghana, these investment companies will also get bailouts through these institutions.
Absolutely.
So they can pay their customers.
Yeah, because the point I'm making is counterparty default. You, the fund manager, you have invested with ABC Savings and Loans or XYZ Microfinance. That entity has run into a difficulty and can't pay you your money on maturity. So you can also not pay your investors, and there's that, tight liquidity situation. So provided that you actually place money with those firms, it can be verified, it can be ascertained, all the necessary documents are there. When the bailout occurs, you will definitely be paid your money.
But should we not have known this? Sorry to step in like that, but should we not have known this by now? Because in your regulation, and you mentioned earlier that you also check the holding institutions. So the institutions that hold the funds belonging to these investment companies, we are also supposed to know as an SEC, aren't we?
Yes, they file to us, but we don't determine where fund managers take their monies to. They report to us where they have taken their monies to. So on the monthly basis, quarterly basis, they file returns. We have placement reports, which will show, the investments, different investments that they have made. So we have that information. I'm saying that in the process of the bailout from Bank of Ghana, Ministry of Finance, in that process, before our licensees can get their investment, there has to be, their claims must be verified. It must be confirmed that they actually did the investment. If you do an investment, you get, for instance, an investment certificate. Okay, there should be evidence of the money moving from your account to the account of the microfinance or the savings and loans. So I'm saying that all those things will be checked, so that you don't have a situation where people don't have real claims, and under the guise or under the cover of this bailout, they try to make some claims. So I'm just saying that the placement will have to be verified before they can. But I'm just saying that the good news is that we are engaging with the Ministry of Finance.
Do we know when these disbursements will be done?
I can't give a definite time, but again, if you've been following the news, I know what the Ministry of Finance or the Bank of Ghana have indicated that before the end of the year, and it could be as early as second quarter, third quarter, but I believe that the projection is that by the end of the year, the issues surrounding bailing out these distressed savings and loans companies, microfinance firms will be addressed. I'm just saying that it should be, if you like, some assurance to our licensees who have exposures to those entities, provided they have the evidence. I mean,
I'll be
that will
opening.
be verified.
Yes, I'll be opening the phone lines in a moment. Reverend, for the 7 points, I would ask that you just list them for me. Just list the 7 for me. So if we need to shed more light, we'll
so
go
the
there.
first was the
counterparty defaults. The second
default.
is?
Second is the fixed term and guaranteed returns, and we have given the directive as already
which is what
indicated.
we just discussed.
Yes,
okay.
And then the third is related party transactions. Again, that's where we have the situation of emergence of financial conglomerates and so on and so forth. And sometimes the related party transactions don't go well. We have also given a directive to put restrictions on what kind of related party transactions should be done and the extent to which it should go. Then the fourth is corporate governance failure. And, we have also, as the SEC, introduced a corporate governance code for listed companies. We've also introduced the conduct of business guidelines for our capital market operators. And these guidelines have some provisions on corporate governance because we need our operators to strengthen the practice of corporate governance.
Okay.
And then there's also the issue of a lot of licensed operators coming in. So we have SEC is implementing new licensing requirements. For instance, we are looking at the minimum capital requirement being raised. We are looking at enforcing the fit and proper test. Before you can actually play in the industry, you have to pass the fit and proper test. We are looking at, for instance, interviewing, especially key of officers. So it's not just a question of showing, your certificates, but we want to make it more rigorous in terms of who comes in, raising ICT requirements. And then we're also embarking on a digitization program for the Commission to make us more nimble in terms of surveilling the market and also affording the market operators a quicker way of submitting the returns. So that's fifth. And then the sixth is lack of information and disclosure requirement, because one of the important things is for the investing public to get information or disclosure, and our operators must give them information or disclosure about what they're doing. If a lot of the issues, when you get into it, the investor didn't have any clue as to what the fund managers were going to do with their money, and that is not right. And so apart from directing our operators to give more information, we're also working on creating a data range on our market operators that will be made more accessible. Again, it will be on our website. We'll look at other ways to
put that
increase access to that. And then the seventh, which I think places the responsibility on the investing public, is chasing of rates and lack of appreciation of risks. A lot of people are just looking for who can give me the highest return, and they also do not appreciate the fact that there's a trade-off between risk and return. The more you go for high return, it means that you are courting high risk, and because people do not understand. So our intervention, for that is investor education. To educate people on the trade-off between risk and return, and also even to educate people on personal financial planning. For instance, let me give you an example. We have this basic notion of diversification. When we were in primary school, we were taught that don't put all your eggs in one basket. So if, let's say, someone goes on retirement and takes all his pension entitlement that is paid and then puts it in just one vehicle, one instrument, that is problematic, because when something goes wrong, and like I said, when it comes to investment, there are degrees of risk. So we need to educate people. For instance, we also need to educate people to understand that you must have emergency funds, which must be separate from, let's say, your project fund, separate from, let's say, your retirement fund. So with your emergency funds, you keep it in a certain vehicle that you can quickly have access to, but then with your project fund, so that when anything happens, at least emergency, you are covered.
Reverend, we'll give you, like you said, you want to embark on an education drive. So come at at a better at a time where we can do more of the education. That would be very nice. But right now, there are people who have already put their whole life savings in companies like Gold Coast. So we would take a quick batch of messages, including the Joy Business Minutes, and we'll come back and have Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete attack those issues specifically. I also have a few questions. Well, there's also your phone calls which will come in. And there's a question of related party transactions. You see, a lot of these capital markets companies, they had sisters in other sectors, which we know what happened to them. So we'll come back and we'll have Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete also address some of those issues. But your phone calls are very key. 0302 216 541, 0244 437. Get the Glyco-Critical Illness Plan GSIP for financial support when diagnosed with critical illness like cancer, stroke, kidney failures, and others. Speak to them on 020-2222-113 or dial Star Glyco on your Star phone app, available on Android and iOS. Glyco Life will cushion you for life. Kingdom Books and Stationery offers a 30-day credit facility with no interest charge. Free delivery within Accra, Tema and surrounding towns. Call us on 0302 764 101 or 762 307 or visit kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, your number one stop shop for all office essentials, stationery and furniture. Joy Business Minute now, and then messages, and then we come back.
It's Daryl here with the Joy Business Minute. Hello! The GRA says it's committed to ensuring compliance with tax payments as its e-platform is introduced. The platform will provide all taxpayers the opportunity to pay their taxes in the comfort of their homes using their mobile phones. First Lady Rebecca Kufuado has charged the Food and Drugs Authority to immediately reduce plastic waste in the country. According to her, plastic waste are a drain on the public purse. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation has rejected calls that a ban on plastics is the best solution to curbing pollution in the country. Special advisor to the minister, Oliver Boache, says government is working out innovative ways to curb the problem. Jumia Ghana has revealed plans to set up new pickup points outside Accra to facilitate expansion. The e-commerce firm has raised some $196 million after listing on the New York Stock Exchange. It's the first African e-commerce business to list. That's your Joy Business Minute.
Enjoy fast, affordable, and dependable 4G service in Accra and Tema, in your office, home, or on the go. Contact Telesol today on 0302 221 658 or 9 or 0303 975 342 or our website telesol4g.com or send us an email through enquiry@telesol4g.com. Telesol 4G, just a touch.
Mrs. Corte, I'm your chauffeur for today. And because you paid for our service using your UBA MasterCard Platinum, this ride is free.
Really?
Absolutely.
I'm not done yet, though. I have so much shopping to do.
Enjoy more offers on the UBA MasterCard Platinum Card wherever you are. The more you spend, the more you earn. Enjoy discounts on airlines, chauffeur and car rental rides, and premium shipping. There are shopping offers, purchase protections, and digital insurance claims. UBA, Africa's global bank.
Yatita Swamanaya for full with NASCO appliances this Easter. This one, dear, follow. I know one talk chow. If you want your Easter to be super special, just visit any NASCO showroom or authorized dealer store across the country and grab the NASCO 32-inch TV, still for 699 Ghana cedis. No fluctuations. 32-inch smart TV for 899 Ghana cedis. Inverter AC starting from 1,799 Ghana cedis. Double door fridge from 729 Ghana cedis and gas cooker for 799 Ghana cedis. To even make it more pop. We are topping up with special gifts when you make these purchases. Easter Papa, Fano Fala, NASCO. Bring home happiness. T's and C's apply.
Bring home happiness.
It's your day off and you end up looking after the baby while your wife goes off to work. You realize you have no idea how to change a diaper. So you video call your wife.
Hello, darling.
Hello.
Kojo, is everything all right?
Everything is not all right. I'm not seeing Topo. How do I change a baby's diaper, please?
Kojo. Okay, first, put the diaper.
The video call freezes. While you wait for the internet to catch up, the baby sprouts a fountain and wets the diaper. As you are getting a new one, your wife comes back online.
Kojo, no. Why did you leave Abeku alone on the bed?
But I had to go and get a new diaper. What must I do next? I beg, quick.
Open the front of the diaper. It's the side that has...
Wow, look, the video freezes again. Abba.
By now, you know where the conversation is going. There's no buffering in real life, so why accept it from your internet connection? Get connected and experience ultra-fast internet to your home, powered by MTN Fiber Broadband.
We're there for you, everywhere you go.
Since inception, almost 100% of Ashesi University students have found jobs, started businesses, or gone on to graduate school within 6 months of graduation. From Accra to Nairobi, London to New York, Ashesi graduates are noticed and they are leading successful careers. If you dream of a rewarding life and career, an Ashesi education prepares you for just that. Learn more about applying to Ashesi at www.ashesi.edu.gh. Remember, admission is ongoing.
What makes me melt on Easter? My family together. Oh, that's sweet. Yes, it melts my heart when my family comes together after shopping at our favorite Citidia supermarket and enjoy special meals for everyone. How sweet. With the kids running around.
The sweetest Easter deals at Citidia, because only Citidia offers the best quality products at prices so low that will make your heart melt. So rush to Citidia and have a sweet Easter.
Treated net to avoid mosquitoes, malaria away. Good life, live it well. Enjoy your life, choose family planning, breastfeed your child, exclusive for 6 months, nutrition for all. Good life, live it well.
Roverman Productions, in partnership with Joy FM and National Theatre, presents a brand new Ebo-wide play titled Dora. Why? All right, everyone calm down. Nobody panic. Now tell me what is going on.
Look, someone has been here. The dining table has been laid. I didn't do it, but see... And they left a note on the table.
What does it say? Let me take a look. It says, "Good evening, Thomas and Mabel.
That's us.
Today marks the 30th anniversary of my death.
What?
This is to keep my memory alive. Please don't forget me. Signed, Dora."
Jesus!
Actually, it's written here. Venue is National Theatre. Time is 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. each day. Dora, why? Shows on the Easter weekend, 20th, 21st, and 22nd April 2019. Tickets available at Joy FM, Shell Shops at Airport, Tema Community 11, and Dansuman, Bachina, and Hatcher Total, Frankie's, Osu, and all usual outlets. Hotline 050-554-6010. Sponsors, Bond Savings and Loans, Sikol Ghana Limited, and Old Mutual. Buy your tickets now.
Super Morning Show.
Eight minutes past 9 here on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. Welcome back. My name is Daniel Daze, here with Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete. He's Director General for the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. We are asking questions about your money. Monies that you lodged with investment companies that you are unable to get back, and all the other issues bedeviling the sector. We've gone through quite a bit already. Let me just take you through the reasons for the challenges that we are facing. 7 reasons which you just listed. Counterparty defaults. They have lost their money somewhere, they can't get it back. Fixed term guarantees. In the first place, these companies should not have told you that I'll give you X percentage and you are guaranteed that return. Related party transactions. They have sisters in other parts of the financial sector that are in trouble, or they are dealing with them illegally. Corporate governance failures. The companies themselves know they are not correct. Too many operators with, the requirements for playing in a sector in the first place, they are too loose. Lack of information. And the customers themselves were chasing rates and not looking at risks. I think I covered that. Now, Absa Group Limited is the parent company of Barclays Bank Ghana Limited. They are passionate about African youth. That's why we've invested in millions of dollars in scholarships to educate thousands of students all over Africa, including Ghana. We've also prepared some 200,000 students all over through our Ready to Work program. Welcome to Absa Group Limited. Absa is proudly serving you in Ghana as Barclays. Now, Furniture City Ghana, home of quality furniture, would love to celebrate this Easter with you in grand style. They are Ghana's #1 furniture company and the largest in Ghana. They give you an amazing 20% discount and even more on all home furniture and decor. There's a new office furniture showroom furnished with ultra-modern office furniture for your selection. For quality furniture, think no further. Furniture City is the best. Locate us on the Spintex Road, a minute's drive from Flower Pot Roundabout. For further inquiries, please call 0244 213333 or 0540 314948. For anything further, for anything furniture, look no further. Furniture City has got it all. Furniture City, home of quality furniture. I'm going to come straight to Reverend Daniel Ogbami now. The question is, why the SEC's recent action with Gold Coast?
Thank you, Daniel. Now, Gold Coast Fund Management, as I'm sure you would know, has been in the news for some months now regarding their inability to pay clients their investments on maturity. What has happened is that we've received quite a number of complaints at the Commission about this unfortunate turn of events. And what we have been doing is we have been organizing hearing sessions on these complaints. What we've also been doing is to be meeting with the senior management of the Gold Coast Fund Management Company in terms of what steps they are taking to redress these issues. And we put them on a more stringent reporting regime. For instance, every week we're required of them to submit information, the clients they have paid, steps they are taking towards the resolution of their liquidity issues. A few months back, we privately directed them to stop taking new deposits because we wanted them to focus on resolving their current, liquidity issues. And then we asked them to submit a detailed proposal on how they were actually going to work around the liquidity issues that they are currently faced with. So, this has always been on the quiet, and we've been dealing with them on the quiet. But we recently decided to put out a notice to, if you like, let investors be aware that the SEC is aware of the complaints that have been coming through or the difficulties investors are having, getting their money from Gold Coast. And also the fact that we've given some directives to them and the fact that they have submitted some proposal of sort. I call it proposal of sort because we had quite a number of questions about it. It didn't provide all the details that we were hoping to get for us to, if you like, give them the approval to go ahead. And so we've asked them, to come back with, more, if you like, further and better particulars so that we can assess the credibility of the plan and then say that, okay, it looks like it can work, and to give them the green light to go ahead. So what we did recently was a public notice just to, if you like, bring out what already in the background or on the quiet the Commission has been, doing where Gold Coast Fund Management is concerned.
Because I have had word that Gold Coast stopped taking deposits in some of those accounts from as far back as October 2018.
Yes, because two things. They had this thing they called structured finance. And again, let me say that it's important for investors when you are, signing on, find out whether not only is the fund manager licensed, but is a product or, offering that he has, does it have the backing of the SEC as well? But in any case, the structured finance really is this guarantee thing, which we have directed the whole industry to stop. But I'm saying that in addition to that, we had given them privately, that this directive about guarantee returns was to the entire industry. But we wrote to them in particular that given what you are going through, let your energies, let your attention, let everything you have to be focused on resolving these issues, because we're looking at options to raise money. And so we said focus on that so that you can keep your clients or your investors happy.
So after these customers' hearings, if Gold Coast is still unable to pay, as we've seen in some cases, what happens?
The option for investors, when they come to the commission with a complaint and we have the hearing and there's an agreement and the company is unable to fulfill their part of the bargain, the option is for the complainant to pursue the company using any and every legal means, for their issue to be redressed. So should it be that Gold Coast is unable to meet their needs, that option is what will be available to the clients. But what I'm saying is that Gold Coast has indicated to us some kind of strategy. We had some questions and we want them to answer and address the questions, and then that would give a sense as to whether they will be able to or not.
No, but so why are we asking the clients to go back to court? Because, this is the SEC, and Reverend, this has happened with people. So you're saying that for these people who haven't gotten their monies, they are on their own, they should go to court?
If you have a contract with someone and that person fails to keep his part of the contract, what option do you have?
But you are the regulator in the space. It's beyond just a contract. It's also about the strength of the sector and people's confidence in Ghanaian entities.
It's also about understanding what the regulator's role is. And that's why I'm saying that what we are mandated to do is to provide you, the client, to empower you for you to pursue your interest, And we have our option to take actions against the market operator, things like revocation of license. Those are powers that we have. So I'm saying that where you are concerned, you have a contract with the operator. The operator has not kept his part of the bargain. When the Act says that if you have an issue, come to the SEC, exhaust the provisions that are there. And if you are not satisfied, we even have what we call the Administrative Hearings Committee. And the Act says that if you are not satisfied with the decision of the Director General, you can even go further to the Administrative Hearings Committee of the Commission. If you are not satisfied, then you can go to court. So I'm just telling you what the Act says. So we will empower you, the client, to be able to follow through the due process to get redress of your issues.
You have the mandate to protect the investor. You have started investor hearings. Can you tell us the number of investors that have been paid their monies and how much has been paid back by Gold Coast?
I don't have that information. The last time we asked Gold Coast to submit a list of customers that they've paid, and they brought us a list of almost 7,000 clients that they have paid. Now, they didn't indicate that what they had paid was the full amount, because what they had been telling us is that the plan is to have some kind of payment arrangements, okay? And then there are also groups of the Gold Coast customers that, have been formed. Even yesterday, we had an interaction with one such group. And again, Gold Coast has got some payment plan. But the indication that we are getting from Gold Coast is that they are paying the clients as and when they get liquidity. And the last list they brought, it was almost 6,847.
Have we audited the list to verify that what the information they're giving us is legit?
What do you mean by audited the list?
So they give you a list of 6,800 people.
Yes.
Customers are saying that, for instance, I just heard a customer who said that they are owed 40 million as a group. If Gold Coast, as a group,
yes,
if Gold Coast says they have paid 60 million out, he doesn't know who they are talking about. So have we gone to verify with any of these 6,800 people to see if they have been paid and how much they've been paid?
We haven't verified that. If you are talking about the list that they submitted, we haven't verified that.
So how does the SEC independently protect these investors' accounts?
It's work in progress. It's work in progress. And if we have a list, we say that we have paid these people, that is not the entire client base. There are other complainants coming through. So it is work in progress. And we will do what we have to do.
It's 90 minutes past 9 here on the Super Morning Show. Enjoy 99.7 FM. I'm opening the phone lines now. 0302-216-541, 0244 340-437, 0244 340-437. All right. So there are a number of issues that we have raised. I'm getting a text from someone who told me that he submitted his company response after his company was listed red, and for months he has not heard from Gold Coast. I'm sorry, he has not heard from the SEC.
For months?
Yes.
Now, this red coding occurred just about 2 months ago, so I don't know what he means by for months. But if he sends the details to, he can send an email to info@sec.gov.gh with the information. Once that he sent it, a copy will come to my office, and I can investigate how come he has resolved his issues, but then his status on the list hasn't been amended or updated.
Francis is calling from Kumasi. Good morning, Francis.
Good morning.
Yes, what's your question, please?
My problem is that my money have been locked up with Gold Coast for a while now. But recently, even last year they promised that I will start paying us March 1st this year. But when I went there, they have given me another form that I should fill. They are migrating us to Cardinal Fund or something of that nature. So if anyone who don't want to be migrated to that fund, the person money will be paid to he or her within 5 years, depending the amount you have with them. But this one, they haven't specified any amount that so and so from this so and so amount to so and so amount will be paid this year, next year after the 5 years. They just put it blankly over there. So because of that, I declined to sign on that this thing, that form they have given to us.
Okay.
And now I don't know my fate. My money will be with the Gold Coast.
Thank you very much, Francis, for calling from Kumasi. Richard is calling from Tema. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning.
Let's hear you, Richard.
Good. I want to ask your guest that is DataBank is DataBank an investment company or a bank? And if it is an investment bank, why are they then using the word bank in addition to their name?
Thank you very much for calling. Nuruddin is calling from East Legon. Good morning, Nuruddin.
Good morning, Daniel.
Let's hear you.
I just want to confirm from what Reverend is saying, they can't do anything after our complaint. We have to take legal action. Is that exactly what he meant? Or he meant that they can even take over, maybe liquidate the asset and pay our money back to us. What exactly is the limit of what the authority can do?
Thank you, Nuruddin, for calling. Let me take a few answers to these questions. I would take Nuruddin's answer first, Reverend.
Yeah, I think you asked earlier on the fact that, is taking over an option. And I did say that it's an option. The SEC can appoint a receiver. We won't do it ourselves because that is not part of our remit directly. So what we can do is to appoint a receiver. I mean, in the case of Bankona, they appointed a receiver. So we can appoint a receiver to take over a firm if that is the way to go. So that option is there. What we are saying is that, or what I've said earlier on, is the fact that one of the ways we empower clients is to enable them to pursue the company ahead of a liquidation, assuming the liquidation hasn't been triggered and you want to pursue your interest. When you have come to the SEC, we have given you when you go to court, you can show or demonstrate that you've exhausted the provisions at the SEC. You stand a better chance of getting redress. That's what I'm saying. But the liquidation option is a possibility, and I think I answered it earlier on.
Richard Fontema asked that if the arrangement he's being given is being migrated to a new account and he doesn't want to do that, what does he do?
Let me say that Gold Coast cannot unilaterally force or compel their clients to accept what they are not comfortable with. It has to be a negotiation. It has to be an agreement. So, that really is what it is. So they must engage, and we would urge the clients to engage Gold Coast if they are not comfortable, because Gold Coast cannot force the clients to sign on a particular fund. In the first place, the fund must be approved by the SEC. They have brought the concept, but we don't have the full details to give an approval. So we haven't approved the fund yet. We want to look at every information to determine whether it's a credible option.
Right.
But even after we have approved, it's up to Gold Coast to engage their clients and get their buy-in. They cannot unilaterally force them to migrate to that product.
Okay, let me take Obusumuru. Have I lost Tete from Swedru? Okay, Obusumuru from Domabin. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, what's your question, please? What's your question, please?
My question is, please, we always sit down for the thing to happen before we say to take action. What is Reverend doing to help to prevent this illegal savings and loans that are spread over the country? I'm sure he's aware some of them don't even have licenses and other things. So what are they doing to prevent those things before it's happening, before they will say the customer should take it to court? Or
Obusumuru, Reverend doesn't regulate savings and loans companies. But
no, I'm not saying he's regulated too. But at least, so he's also a citizen of Ghana. He can also do something to at least draw the appropriate court's attention that maybe there are illegal savings and loans and other financial institutions that are not legal.
Thank you, Obusumuru, for calling. We'll put that to him. Kevin is calling from Tamale. Good morning, Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Good morning.
Good morning, please.
Yes, you're on air.
Thank you very much. We thank you very much for this program this morning. But SEC, it appears like some of us are feeling there is some kind of a conspiracy theory somewhere, a conspiracy agenda they are pursuing with the financial institutions in this country. They seem to be some kind of powerless in dealing with situations. How can you be regulating somebody? The person has taken my money. You have given some kind of accreditation for the person to be operating over the years. We've had trust in them, and we've gone to deposit monies with them. Today, you sometimes talk and then you make it sound as if at some point in time you become powerless and you will have nothing to do, and we will have to take our destinies into our own hands. That is not fair. I want to ask, I did an investment with Gold Coast Creative. I have 5,000 with them, minus the interest. I did the investment in September, but because they couldn't pay me at the end of my 3 months investment, I had to roll over, and I've been rolling over until now. I want to ask the honorable man there whether it is right for me to continue to roll over once I don't have any hope of receiving my money now.
Thanks, Kevin from Tamale. Nana is calling from Cantonment. Good morning, Nana.
Good morning, my good friend.
Let's hear you, please. Oh, I'm blessed.
How are you?
I'm blessed. Let's hear you, please.
You are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Please, you ask my executive secretary there whether he has followed up with the list that he has. And look at it. He's not followed up. Why? We've entrusted our everything in your care. As a security, whatever. We are an agency. Granted that a policeman, the crime rate in the country, we blame everything on the police officers. Now you are here to regulate us, and you are telling me the list you are here to cross-check while people are dying. People are dying, seriously. They say you are here to go and cross-check. You don't put any premium on that. You are comfortable in your office. And look at most of these owners. They are coming from outside. They establish all these things without them. Look at their names. And poor people, their investment. And you are sitting down telling me you are here to cross-check.
Thanks, Nana, for calling. Osei is calling from Kumasi. Good morning, Osei.
Good morning.
Yes, let's hear you.
Okay, so I have two quick questions. I would like to know what oversight does the SEC have over banks who run investment-like packages? We have some savings and loans banks who run some pension and other security and exchange packages within their companies.
Okay.
And then secondly, I will encourage them to be more proactive. It seems like they are more inward looking. They are focusing so much upon themselves and their well-being rather than doing the job that the Constitution has mandated them to do. Thank you.
Thank you for calling us from Kumasi. Ika is in Accra. Good morning, Ika.
Hi, good morning.
Let's hear you.
Okay, so please, I have a few questions that I would like to ask the SEC board. Now, the first one is, why has it taken SEC this long to come out to speak publicly about the liquidity challenges faced by the industry? And then, two, how is it going to help the investment houses that are having challenges now to get government to pay them?
Okay,
and
thank
I
you.
also have a question that is the Ministry of Finance also helping to, is SEC talking with the Ministry of Finance to help these fund management institutions have their funds locked up and to be able to pay?
Okay,
and
so
the last one, please let me ask the last one.
It's fine.
Statistics said that they stopped taking deposits from 20.
So
And
you would
I'd
have
like
to
to
restate
see
your
why-
last question. Ike, I'm very sorry. You would have to restate your last question. The line wasn't
Okay,
clear.
so Gold Coast has stated that they stopped taking deposits in October, that's 2018. I want to understand why the Commission didn't issue a public notice and ask them to do same as though nothing had happened, and they are doing that now. I want to understand all.
Okay, thank you very much. Our last caller is Mauli from Kumasi. Good morning, Mauli. Good morning, Mauli.
Dan, good morning.
Great, let's hear you.
Great, good morning, Dan. Dan, great. Dan, I don't know what the Reverend probably is trying to mean. You know, you are there for the people. And if you are telling us that we should probably seek our consent from the law court, what are you trying to tell us? Because looking at it, maybe my money cannot really take me to court. I need to go and fight for my money. But you are now trying to drive me to court to go and fight for my own money. Whilst you are there as a regulator to fight for the people, but you are now trying to tell us as if you are on the side of the Gold Coast people. You deal with Gold Coast. And whenever way you go there, the only thing they do is to take your account number and they will tell you they're sending your money. They've not done anything about sending people's money to them. So I don't know what our man is trying to tell us this morning. And saying whatever question we ask, he's not giving us the concrete answer we need. He's not giving us the straight answer. So please, he should go and work on whatever thing that he needs to work on and then come back to us again. Because whatever he tells us this morning, as if it's breaking our hearts more.
Thanks, Mauli, for calling. There were a number of colleagues, Reverend, who said that SEC has been reactive rather than proactive with dealing in the matters in the matters in the sector.
Well, I would say that that's their perception, and if I had the opportunity, I would want to debate them on the basis for why they are saying that we are being reactive. And of course, SEC, one of the things that we've indicated that we would like to take comments and feedback from the public. So once we have some good feedback on the areas that the public expects us to be more proactive, we'll work on it. But one of the things that this year we have decided to do more aggressively is investor education. We've been doing investor education, but this year, especially with the upsurge in Ponzi schemes and all of that, you
mentioned that earlier about investor education.
Yes.
You made that point. So let me just clarify a bit on that one. The sentiment is that we have waited for things to get to this point before we are coming out to speak. We have waited for people to already lose their funds if they have lost them before we are seeing this action.
But remember, I've said to you that when you talk about investment, there's always a degree of risk. So this is not the first time that people are losing money. We have a situation where some of the operators, and I indicated that some of them, a key reason will be counterparty defaults and some related party transaction and all of that. And I've outlined what we are doing about it. Again,
why couldn't we recognize these earlier and prevent the losses rather than at this point doing a post facto implementation?
What do you mean by recognize and prevent losses? SEC is not managing funds. What we do is we receive, we ensure that our operators, they are solvent and they are complying with our regulations. We require them to file returns. Are you saying that, for instance, we must be looking at whether the placement with this bank is going well? That's the job of the fund manager. What we have said is that fund managers are supposed to give adequate disclosure to the investing public. You must make them to understand that this product or that product, this is the risk-return trade-off. You must make them to understand that these are the underlying investments that go with this product. So you cannot expect the regulator to now get into assessing the investments. Are they going bad?
But you also check the holding accounts. It's part of your job.
We check what?
The holding account. The accounts holding the investments. It's part of your job.
No, I'm saying that they file returns to and we have a placement report.
Exactly.
That will show where the funds. But I'm saying that.
So you know that some of these places, because one of the complaints raised was that some of these companies place funds at places that are not liquid. You knew that some of the places were not liquid.
Why are you saying that we needed the places?
Because I'm assuming that
liquid.
when you looked at no, and I'm telling you, I'm making the assumption. I'm assuming that when you looked at the returns being made, you would be able to recognize with your experience that if a customer wants his money now, you can't pay him now.
No, you can't say that. You can't say that. I mean, if let's say a fund manager has provided returns that I have placed money with these banks and these savings and loans company or whatever, you are saying that SEC should be able to tell that this investment is going bad. No, that. But
if I invest in infrastructure,
that is an unrealistic expectation.
Okay, look, there was an online story. I'm pulling it for you in a moment. Let's circle back to this issue. Do you think that you have delayed in speaking publicly? There have been a few questions to that effect that they feel you kept so long.
I wouldn't say so. Listen, when you are a regulator, you don't always bring things out in the public. You must also be aware of what is said and what it would trigger. For instance, we are concerned, and we should be concerned about the confidence of investors in the industry, how people process information. And again, even unfortunately, how some journalists even twist things that are put out. It can damage the understanding or the confidence. So you don't always just come out publicly and put things out there, okay? And even before you come up with any public notice or statement, you must have gone through a certain process and satisfied yourself that, for this and this, we should come out. As to the timing, I would say it's a question of judgment. Some will say, well, you should have spoken earlier and, you should have spoken much earlier and all of that. Well, we have spoken at the time we chose to speak. Sorry.
Then again, so I can circle back to that issue now of liquidity. We have had funds of certain companies locked up in government contracts. And SEC knew this. We know how difficult it has been for governments to pay back these contractors. So how are we going to wait to protect investment funds then?
Daniel, SEC will not determine or tell you where to invest, we have some broad guidelines that determines what fund managers can do or should do. We are considering even making it tighter and to engage the industry on that. But really, when it comes to investment, it's down to risk return trade-off. If we take pension assets, let me give you that example. Pension assets, because of the nature of pension assets, the regulator has strict guidelines on where the money can go into. So that is clear. When it comes to mutual funds, again, you can see some guidelines and some limits on what can be done, what can't be done. Okay, so it comes down to, like I keep saying, disclosure. You must let the investing public know what the investment is going about, and that's one of the things we are saying, that the market operators must provide the information. So let me illustrate. If we take mutual funds or collective investment schemes, we have something we call the scheme particulars. The scheme particulars would identify or specify.
You know what? I think you are getting into the investor education. That's we will get a better time to deal with.
No, because of the question you are asking. Because you are saying that
truth of the matter is,
yes.
Truth of the matter is, Reverend, I have time for only one more question.
Okay.
Which is, can you guarantee the customers of the about 15 companies that have been listed in my text message, and I've seen Ideal, CDH, Legacy Financials, it's so many of these. What assurance can you give these customers that they'll get their monies back?
I can't give any guarantee. I have said that, how can I sit here and give a guarantee when, a broad guarantee, when we haven't looked at the underlying investment? I have said that if it's an issue of counterparty default, we have started talking with the Ministry of Finance and Bank of Ghana so that those problems can be resolved. If the companies listed, the 15 or so that you have in your list, if they fall into that group where they have exposures to, let's say, some banks, SNLs or microfinance that have
then
issues,
they would get
provided they have evidence to show that they actually made those investments. When the bailout occurs, they'll be sorted out.
What about Gold Coast specific? Are you able to give any assurance for Gold Coast specific?
What I've said is that we've asked them to submit detailed plans. They brought something, a concept paper, if you like, which didn't have the details. So I can't say that their plan is credible or not.
Okay.
What we are asking them to do is to make sure that they provide liquidity for their clients to sort them out. And then they should bring the plan. Let us assess it. If we are comfortable, we think that it will work in the interest of investors, we'll give them the go-ahead, and then they can pursue that path.
Thank you very much. Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete is the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. We'll take these important messages. We'll be right back. But before we go, if you're looking to acquire a home in a well-planned and secured community with access to an ultra-modern sports complex, Olympic-sized swimming pools, football, basketball, athletics, and gym facilities, Eden Heights has it all. They are at the West Hills Mall, close to the beach resorts, along the Atlantic Ocean, some 30 minutes drive from the airport, 5 minutes walk from West Hills Mall. Call Mavis on 050-153-1444 or 050-153-1445 or visit edenheights.com.gh or email sales@edenheights.com.gh. This weekend, we are all going for Dora Why. It's starting on Saturday. It's ending on Monday, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. each day. Get your tickets here at Joy FM for 80 Ghana cedis or call 050-554-6010 or WhatsApp 050-554-6030. Dora Why is, of course, the latest Anklebo White play. Roman Productions, be the difference. We are taking these messages. We'll be back.
Malaria ticks line.